Hey, what's up there, do-it-yourselfers? Today I'm going to show you how you can fix and remove scratches from your car's finish. And I'm going to show you how you can do this on this spare Mercedes door that I got here. And as you can see, we got some scratches and scuff marks here. They're not too deep for the most part. There's probably some deep scratches up here. And this was probably due to this door scraping off against another car or an object that was probably white. And that's why you see all these white spots here. Now, before I show you guys what I think is the proper way of removing scratches and scuff marks, I want to take a minute and do a little experiment with something that's different. And by that I mean some WD-40. Yep, I'm going to see whether I can get these scratches off with some good old WD-40. I actually saw a video on YouTube a while ago by a Russian guy where he had some scratches on his fender and then he used WD-40 to try to get them off, and he looked pretty happy with the results, so I thought, why not? Let's give this guy a shot. Especially since if this works, it's going to be a lot easier and quicker than the normal way I usually go about removing scratches and scuff marks. Alright, here we go. Let's give this a thorough WD-40. Next with the microfiber towel, let's start cleaning it up. See what we got. So here's a shot of the area after the first pass. Yeah, it looks like the area where the damage was visible has shrunk. It looks a little bit better down here too, but we still can see all these main ones up here. So let's do another pass. And here's a close-up shot of the area after our second pass with some WD-40, and as you can see, all the scratches and scuff marks are still there. But I have to say the overall size of the damaged area looks smaller, but again, the scratches and scuff marks are still there and they still need to be fixed. So here's what I think happens when you use WD-40 to try to remove scratches. Whenever you scrape up against something, for example, let's say you scrape up against this object right here, not only you get the physical damage with like the scratches and the scuff marks and stuff to your finish, but also you'll get the paint and dirt and whatever that was on that object scraped into your clear coat usually. And since WD-40 is not only just a lubricant, but it also has some cleaning characteristics, and when you spray it and then you wipe it down with a towel, you're basically just cleaning the area of some of the dirt and debris and maybe the paint that was on that object you scraped up against. Also, since you're basically spraying oil on your panel is just going to look shinier than it did before after you wipe it down, and to some people it looks like they're restoring the gloss back to their clear coat. All the while it's just basically looks shinier because you just sprayed oil all over your panel. All the while you haven't done anything to address the physical damage, which was all these scratches and scuff marks that are in your panel. Speaking of which, some of these scratches and scuff marks are pretty deep, and in fact it looks like in some areas it may have gone through the clear coat. And if they do go through your clear coat and damage your base coat, especially if it's a larger scrape and you want to fix that, the only way to do it really is to apply base coat to the damaged area and then you clear coat the rest of the panel. Now, I've done a couple of videos showing people how they can paint their cars themselves, and I'll put a link to them on the screen where you can click on them. Also put a link to them in the description box if you're interested. Alright, so the things you need to do this properly is first a bucket of water, some 1500 grit sanding paper, a soft sanding block, but if you don't have one of these, it's okay, you can just use the palm of your hand. And next you just want to wet this area and start sanding it down. And I think we're making quite progress here. It's starting to feel pretty smooth. Depending how deep your scratches are, you might need to do a couple passes or just barely anything really to get them out. But be wary of these. If you're doing this over in close to an area where it's got an edge like this, don't go over these edges with the sandpapers because you're going to burn through the clear coat and then you're going to be in trouble. Just stop short of these edges, these corners and edges. Just do underneath them. If you need to do it on top, then pick up your sandpaper, go over it on top. Just don't go over it with your sandpaper, okay? And here's a close-up shot after our first pass, and there's still a couple of spots remaining, but again, this is obviously normal to be dull like this because we just sanded it down. We'll still have to sand these areas a little bit more up here. Also down here needs to be sanded some more. And here's how things look after our second pass. Everything is nice and smooth to the touch. We don't feel any roughness from scratches or scrape marks. We got that all smoothed out. We don't feel any scratches with our fingernails either. which is a good sign, and now we're ready to go on to the next step. And what you need for the next step is a buffer, which you can get at Harbor Freight for about 30 bucks, and a wool pad, which you can also get at Harbor Freight for about 10 bucks. Or you can just use your drill, but you'll need to buy a polishing kit that goes on here, which usually includes a rubber backing pad and then a wool pad that goes on top of that, and they're usually 4 or 5 inches. And you can buy it at Harbor Freight, or if you want to buy on Amazon, I found a $16 kit the other day. I'll put a link to it in the description box if you're interested. And what you need next is some rubbing compound. Now I'm going to be using this 3M medium cut rubbing compound I got, and I think I got this for about 30 bucks a while ago. But if you're just going to be doing this once in a while, you can use just buy a smaller container to save some money. I found a 3M rubbing compound on Amazon for about 8 bucks, which a lot of people seem to like. I'll put a link to that in the description if you're interested. Next, we'll just apply some rubbing compound to our buffing pad. And next, we're going to try to rub some of this rubbing compound on our panel. Otherwise, if we start spinning, this is going to just fling everything all around, and that's not going to be good. But after we get it on there, we're going to start at our lowest speed setting. Something else I need to mention is that whenever you're using this buffer, you don't want to stand in one place at all. You want to keep moving around, and because if you stand in one place, this buffer can burn through your clear coat very easily, and that's gonna just do a lot harm than good. Okay. And now that we got it all spread out, we're going to increase the speed. All right, let's wipe things down and see what we got. And here's a look at the area after our first pass, and things look much better now, as you guys hopefully can see, except in these 2 tiny areas up here. It looks like the scrapes were too deep here, and they did go through the clear coat. As a result, there is some discoloration here. So with the buffer, I'm going to stay away from this little area right here for the second and third pass, so these areas don't expand. But the rest of the panel looks really good. Alright, so I just did 3 passes over this area, and as you can see, we made a huge improvement from where we started. And now there's these 2 small areas again that the scratches and the scuff marks were just too deep and they had gone through the clear coat. As a result, we got some discoloration here. But the rest of the area, as you remember, it was a fairly large area. It was from all the way here to down here. It looks like as if there was there was no damage or scratches or scrapes here at all. In fact, this area is a lot more clear than this area back here. And a good next step would be to apply some wax to your car, or especially the areas where you wet sand, because whenever you wet sand, you're removing some clear coat, and as you may know, clear coat is basically there to protect your paint or your base coat, in other words. And when you sand it down, you're thinning that layer, but if you apply wax on a regular basis, then you should be fine. And with that said, gonna wrap this video up. Hope this video helps people out there. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. You may also want to consider checking out some of my other videos. I'll put them up on the screen as video links so you can just click on it. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time.